Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Buster's Book Reviews. Now, I did go missing for a little while. What happened was I got kidnapped by the Scarecrow. He took me for some reason. I guess he was jealous because I had all the videos on Chris's channel and he had just the one. And he took me somewhere and he sprayed me with that fear toxin. And I saw such horrible things. I was like in a house that was burning, surrounded by snakes and spiders. And Hillary Clinton was president. How horrible is that? But, then finally Batman came, he rescued me, and he got me back to doing my book reviews. But anyway, here we are. We're up to, I think it's volume 27. I think this is the 27th one. Well, anyway, today we've got a new author called Beverly Barton. And the book is called Silent Killer, if you couldn't read that. Beverly Barton, I'd never really heard of her, and she was born in Alabama, and I found out she died a while back, so that made me a little sad. But this was an interesting book. This is a good book. It's about this girl named Kathy Cantrell, and she watched her husband burn to death. Somebody came one night. He was a preacher, and he doused him with gasoline, set him on fire, and she watched him burn to death. Now, this made her have a nervous breakdown, and she checked herself into this place for 6 months, got better. Now she's out, and she wants to get her son back. Now, what's screwed up is even her own mom is ashamed of her because she went into basically a crazy house, and her in-laws are embarrassed by her. But, what do you expect her to do? She watched her husband burn to death. I think she did pretty good considering. It's not like, you can understand her going off the deep end a little bit. Anyway, she's back now, and she's trying to get her son back from her in-laws, and there's also this guy named Jackson Purdue. Well, Jackson's out from the army, and it turns out he was Kathy's first love. And did I say his name was Jackson Purdue, or did I say Jackson Cantrell? Anyway, his name's Jackson Purdue. He was her first love, and before she got married. And he's heartbroken because he went off to the army, and while he was going, she got married to the preacher. And of course, she's doing decorating and stuff. She's gonna help him decorate the house that he got from his dad. Was it his stepdad? Yeah, his stepdad. Yeah, I think it was his stepdaddy after he died. Anyway, he's got a lot of bad memories in the house, and his sister was surprised he even went there because his stepdad was very abusive, beat him all the time and everything. And his sister worked for this company. Now, this is the weird thing. There's kind of a little side story, which is actually what the name of the book series is named after. His sister works for this company with these private investigators, and there's something going on there. It's like a little side story that don't really have anything to do with the story going on here. That threw me off a little bit. It was just kind of weird. It really doesn't have anything to do with anything. It's just like filler, really. But getting back to the story at hand, as soon as Kathy comes back, another murder happens. There's I forgot to tell you all about Jackson. Jackson's back, and he becomes a deputy sheriff, and the sheriff puts him in charge of this the cold case for the two people that were burned to death. There was the one along with her husband, and the sheriff, his first love was Kathy's best friend. I think it was Lori was her name. It's been a little while since I read this. I probably should have gone back and did a little more research, but anyway, and she went off, wanted to become a star, and it turns out she did some nude photos and was in a porno movie. So he's kind of he's a little ashamed of her, but he still loves her, you can tell. And she's trying to get close to his kids, and he don't want that because she works with the church or something like that. But there's just a lot of drama going on. But the story is the preachers start getting murdered again. They start getting burned to death, and you see the killer, and they're like, I've been chosen by God. These people aren't real people of God. They don't preach the true word, and they go back on their oath and everything. And some of them don't even do anything that bad. It's just kind of a crazy person, but the whole book goes through the mystery of trying to figure out who this person is, burning all the preachers to death, and the rekindling of the romance between Kathy and Jackson. And it's a good little story, and they're interesting characters. A lot of interesting characters in this one. And of course, it's also about her trying to get her son back. There's a lot of side stuff, but the gist of it is a bunch of preachers getting burned to death, and it's bringing back bad memories for her. She just got out of kind of like a crazy house she checked herself into, and she sees that Jackson's back after all this time, and he's investigating her husband's murder that was never solved, and then more murders start happening. But yeah, it's definitely a good book, and I give it 4 stars. There's more of her books that I want to read. I definitely will read them. In fact, I've got another one right here on the counter right here. I'm currently reading The Whispering Room by Dean Koontz, and that'll come a couple of reviews later probably. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and follow Chris Snider at Chris Snider83. Like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and that'll do it for this video, and happy reading.